Hello and welcome to Front Row Racing World Series Reserves. Right, this week it is Austria. I am Front Row Racing GP. In the commentary box this evening with me we've got a guest from the World Championship Reserves. It's coming to get you. Dave, how are you this evening?
Very well, thank you for asking. Looking forward to possibly another eventful race on a follow-up from yesterday.
Yeah, and yesterday you had a bit of precipitation, and I'm kind of hoping for the same again today. Because what does that do to your plans for the race, or the effect for your mental state, shall we say, when you're getting ready for the race?
I like the way you're picking on me, Steve. It's a good start. No, it's great. It adds a bit of spice to the race. You don't know what's going to happen, and yeah, it's great viewing for the viewers. So hopefully we get something similar, and the racers enjoy it and put on a good show for us.
Yeah, and hopefully we will. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the drivers that we've got in with us. We may still get some others join. There's a possibility of having a full grid this evening, but we shall see. So we've got John Rhinos in the Ferrari, Willow Wolves, teammate in the Ferrari, Drew in the Williams, alongside Twist Royalty in the Williams, with, I'm going to get told off if I say his name wrong, I might even get a spell cast on me, Valdemar in the Sauber, with Kay Nyanda in the Sauber as well. Then the rest of the drivers, if I just scroll down slightly, we have got Gonk, Woods V, My Bad, SBL Mali Kekech, Neo Tig Jr., Mr. Loki, Puso 2000, Calso 210, Eraser 21, Caribbean Crush, the OG Dragon. So yeah, some new drivers there, some that we've not seen before, mainly the bottom two there, Caribbean Crush and OG Dragon. So yeah, don't know what they're like. Maybe Dave, have you heard of them before? Have you had any experience with them?
Caribbean Crush, he's a new face to me. I wish him luck, and hopefully he can show us something different and challenge these guys that are here with us tonight. The OG Dragon is a friend of mine. I know what he's capable of, and I wish him luck. I just hope he can take the fight to some of these quick guys here today.
Okay, great stuff. I'm going to click ready and send them over to the circuit, and then once I've done that, I'm going to read out question of the day. And Dave, it means you get first opportunity of giving me an answer. Now,
can I Google it? Can I Google it?
You can try. Now, you may also see on the screen we've got Front Racing DP here with us. He's not going to be on mic as much unless he feels it's necessary. He's wants to be left alone. He's feeling a bit, under the weather, shall we say. I think I may have upset him with the question of the day from yesterday, so I'll give him a break today. Question is, what car shares the Pagani Zonda's temperature controls?
Ooh,
Any idea?
What? Ooh. Is it? Oh, see, I'm gonna ask for. Is it to do with Formula One or not?
No.
Now, I'm guessing this is completely out of the blue. I don't know, Steve. I'm gonna have to go with something like Honda. I ain't got a clue. That's something different.
A Honda. Okay, well, you're wrong. It's not a Honda, but I'm sure we're going to get plenty more guesses coming in. I'm going to actually ask DP very quickly if he wants to answer that question. DP, do you want to answer the question?
Volkswagen Beetle.
Unfortunately not. So there's two no's already.
Right, well, there's not many more out there, guys. So we've got two off the list.
I'm going to try and keep quiet today, but I have a comment on YouTube that I need to mention. It's from Kay Nyanda that says Voldemort said Wingardium Leviosa.
Is that a spell that helps me speak properly? Because it can't make me any worse. Right, so we're moving over to the circuit. It is time for the World Series Reserves at Austria. And what is the weather going to be like? Can we hear the patter of rain? We can.
Ooh, we have rain, Steve. We have rain.
So looking at the forecast, and it could be drier towards the end of qualifying. So Dave, would that delay you in going out, or would you get a bit of experience in the damp conditions?
Before I answer that one, Steve, I just look forward to the race, and this is going to be a wet race as well. But to answer your questions, I'm a driver that will go out in the inters, see what the car's got, because you don't know if the track will be completely dry at the end. So, but as you said, you're better off holding out as long as possible. If you can stick on a set of slicks, you want to be the last man across the line with 1 second to spare.
Yeah, exactly, true. But there's no guarantee that it is going to get dry, like you're saying. But the weather for the race is very interesting. It looks rather heavy at the start of the race. So I would suggest anyone that's considering going out, I'd say go out and set a time, because any kind of experience in damp conditions is going to be an experience worth having.
Exactly that, because we went into our race yesterday with, well, myself, no experience in the wet around here, and I think it's mentioned a couple of times that turn 2's bad enough in the dry. It's not nice in the wet.
I'm just seeing Willow Wolves coming out of there. Now, the guys today are assist users. It doesn't necessarily mean they all have assists on, but in these conditions, I'd be putting assists on if it was available for me.
I think I've caught a big mistake here. Poor old Mr. Loki's gone out on a set of super softs. I think he's got that wrong.
He has. He's on super soft. Interesting choice there, Mr. Loki. Well, let's see how you get on.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah, that's what's going to happen. You're going to end up in the wall.
Welcome to Austria, Mr. Loki. Not a good start.
Yeah, you can't say we didn't see that coming with those tyres that he had on. Well, looking back at Willow Wolves, it looks like he may be the first one that's going to be putting a lap time in. He's approaching the last corner before he starts his flying lap. Now, I've got an idea of what the sector time should be in the dry, but any idea of the lap times for these sort of conditions, or what lap times can you remember doing yesterday in the damp conditions?
We obviously did it in race conditions, so we had a fair bit of fuel on. Off the top of my head, I think I was in sort of the 19s, 20s, but we had some serious changeable conditions yesterday, so I'm as lost as you, Steve. Let's row that boat together, mate.
Yep. And for some of these drivers, they might be going down the creek without a paddle, like Mr. Loki was just. But Willow Wolves first sector 18-1. I have no idea whether that's going to be competitive or not. It's just gone a little bit deep into turn 3. This is a strange corner because it's turn 3 and 4 as they come out of it, heading towards turn 5 now.
Well, as you're on board with Willow Wolves, I'm on board with the OG Dragon, and he's hit an 18.0 so far, so I think the drivers are just accumulating themselves to the track conditions at the moment.
Yeah, okay, let me know how he gets on in his second sector, because Willow Wolves has done a 35.9.
I've got a 35.6 for the OG Dragon, so he's just at about 4/10 so far.
Yeah. So Willow Wolves is probably going to set the provisional pole with being the first car across the line setting a lap, I believe. There we go. So I say it's P2. Somebody else beat him to it.
Woods made some mistakes here. He's coming to the line, and it's third, well, 118.9. I think he's got a few attempts to make up in that first sector. He ran a bit deep in the penultimate and the final corner.
Okay. Yeah, he did use a little bit there, but just a bit of information. Woods V set the time of a 118.3. He got a purple in the third sector, but OG Dragon's got the purple in the first 2 sectors. Don't know how that's going to pan out throughout the rest of the event, but normally if you go in purple in the last sector, that means you've probably got a bit more downforce than others. Malik Ekech, 18.1 first sector, just heading down towards turn 3. If you could keep an eye on Caribbean Crush for me, because I'm aware he's just set a time almost purple sector 1 and 18.0. So if you could keep an eye and let me know what he does sector 2. As Malik Ekech,
I'm on board with him now, Steve.
Great stuff. Malik Ekech is looking pretty good here. 35.5 sector 2, which is not too shabby at all. A couple of corners to go.
Caribbean Crush coming to finish the middle sector now, and he has done a 35 dead.
Wow.
This looks quite handy. He's flying. He's hitting apexes sweeter than that. We're just entering the penultimate corner as we speak. We'll see how he does. He's sweeped the apex lovely. He's been watching me too much. Lovely on the outside curve. Final curve sweep. Here we go. Let's see what I think this is pole all day long. All day long. A 1:17.1. Wow.
Yeah, that is quite a healthy chunk. Now, looking at the conditions, I wouldn't necessarily say they've got any drier. I think the track has probably got a bit of a drier line on it because the cars are circulating. That may help a little bit, but it's a fair chunk quicker than some others. We was watching SBL Malikeka. She's now currently in P2, but he has gone again 18-1 Sector 1. So again, he may be setting a quick Sector 2 in a moment. But just want to look through the field.
I've got Woods V12 coming across the line. He set a 17.9 first sector and 117.9 overall. He's sitting third.
Yeah, nice lap time there by Woods V. So we'll have a look at Calzo, see how he's getting on. He's done an 18.0 Sector 1, 35.3 Sector 2, not too bad. Couple of corners left to go. We know this guy's got ability. He showed it in the World Series last week. He had a good race at Baku, apart from maybe an incident near the start of the race. Don't know whether it was his fault or not, but he was involved in an incident and he's gone P4. A nice time there. Still quite new to Formula 1 is Calzo. Woods V12 has done another 17.9 Sector 1. 17.9 Sector 1 for Woods V. Very good in that first sector. I mean, Dave, would that mean to you that would be possibly a low aero setup if he's going that much quicker in that first sector?
Yeah, from my experience racing against championship drivers, sort of looking at that with the straights we've got around Austria, that would be low, and he's compromising himself a fair bit in the middle and final sector. So if I was him, I'd get in, put a bit of front wing on and see if that would help with those longer corners, because you need that downforce there on the front end.
Yeah, he's gone 24.6 Sector 3, he's still only 5th. Let's have a little look around. We've got Valdemar with lots of numbers behind his name, 1 to 8. He's done 18.0 Sector 1, 35.4, not too bad. Sector 2, currently sat in 6th place. So he's a 10th off the purple that Woods V's done in Sector 1. But if he's got a lot of aeros on, it's where he's going to gain it in the last sector. So we're just going to watch him come across the line. And he's gone P6. Well, Caribbean Crush, is he on a good lap at the moment? Let's go find out where he is.
He's done a 17.9 first sector, 34.9 middle sector. Oh, lost the rear end there. He's coming up to the line. It's a 1:16.8. That is, oh wow, they're picking up the pace. I don't know. It might be getting drier. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, in these conditions, you would put in a lot of fuel, wouldn't you? As Kane Anders gone 18.1, you put a fair amount of fuel in while you're on the inters, so just keep putting lap in after lap after lap. So the fuel is going to be coming down as well. But somebody we've not seen much of is OG Dragon. So I'm going to see if we can find him and see how he's getting on. Well, it doesn't seem too bad.
As we speak, Steve. As we speak. Traffic's a bit compromising, but he's holding his own. Coming up to the middle sector, one more corner to go. His rear's looking a bit unsteady. I don't know if you're off board with him, but I am on board with him in the T-cam.
Yeah, we're on the T-cam.
35.4. I think he might have done a Woods V12 here and gone with too little aero for quali. Maybe suited more for the race, but it looks wetter.
With it being a quite a wet race, then surely the higher aeros would be better for the race, in my opinion.
Yeah, that is true, without giving too much away off setup, yeah.
I'm just being told by the producer in my ear that Puso 2000's got an issue. He's off into the gravel. I think he's taken his pussycat for a toilet training session. Because, yeah, that wasn't where you want to be putting the car. He's now very wide around the penultimate corner. Maybe he's setting himself up for a lap. He's not liking these conditions at all. We'll leave him alone to do that. A Razor is on a flying lap. We'll see how he gets on. Kane Anders done a 17.9 Sector 1 and a 34.8 Sector 2. Kane Ander here looking like he's on the pace. This is very competitive. Could this be a potential pole position for Kane Ander? And I don't say that without any meaning behind it, because with a bit of meaning behind it, because he deserves it. He is a good driver. He should be able to put his car on pole position. But it's P2, and I think he's still got a bit more in the bag in that last sector. And just looking at, just having a quick look, and yeah, 5/10. He lost out in that last sector to the Caribbean Crush, so quite a hefty bit of time dropped in that last sector. Maybe just a little too cautious, but still, it's P2 at the moment. SBL Malikekic, that's an outlap. Sorry, go on.
I was just on board with Drew. I don't know who's in the Red Bull. I think he's gone with too little downforce. He's all over the place. Drew was looking pretty handy with an 18 dead, but then got held up in the middle sector and did a 36-1. So maybe going for another lap here.
Yeah. Well, Calzo is on for a good lap, but he's got a car ahead of him that might just be putting him off slightly. But Kei Nyanda is on for another fastest lap as well. It could be improving on his own.
I don't know what you're seeing on your screen, Steve, but I think the rain is now beginning to stop. We have just got slight bits of drizzle if you go on board with someone.
Yeah, there's only a little bit of water coming down on the screen, not too much water coming up off the tyres. Calzo, a couple of corners to go, and a little bit down in his second sector. I think there, if he's been quick enough in this last sector, he might be able to improve on his fourth position. No, he stays fourth. Yeah, I think we're kind of at that period of time where the drivers might be thinking either for a fresh set of inters to get a little bit more bite out of them, or whether just to wait to see if the track dries up a little bit. But there's only 5 or just under 6 minutes to go. There's not a lot you can do in this sort of intermediate period, because I don't know whether the track's going to get that much quicker for the inters. At the moment it's kind of like slippery underneath, but if it gets too much dry, the inters could get a little bit too hot, as Willow Wolves has done at 18.2 sector 1. Because sometimes, I mean, this is only my view and I may be wrong, but you can obviously tell me different if you know, Dave, and that is, with the inters, they work well when it's wet and when it's damp. They will work when it's dry, but obviously they work better when it's damp.
They do. From experience, I find you can take the inters literally to dry conditions, and after that you've got a window of 2 laps to get them off before they go bang from overheating. Yeah. So, but it also depends on setup, aero, what you've got. Little aero, they're going to overheat quicker, where they're slipping and sliding. More aero, you can take them further and possibly get your window right. I've just looked at Caribbean Crush on the timing screen, and I missed this. He's put in a 1:16.8. So
wow.
Half a second faster than Kane Leander in second. So I think these conditions are really improving for all.
And Willow Wolves is currently 8th position. He didn't improve on that last time. Maybe he's got quite a bit of fuel in, but just looking off board now at my bad, and just out of turn 1 heading down towards turn 2, it looked almost dry on that section of the circuit, and he is on a set of super soft tyres. He could be the driver that's the first driver. Yeah, he might be the first driver to set a time on the slick tyres. So it'll be interesting to see what he does here. It is his outlap, but it'll be interesting to keep an eye on how he goes, because I think we may be close to that crossover period. It just all depends on whether you can keep it on the dry line. Yeah. Just
I'm on board with Drew. He's still following that low 18, high 17, so I'd probably still a touch too wet for those slicks.
Yeah, if you're on the slicks, I think you've got to keep it bang on that racing line and not deviate from it. Just watching Drew there coming. He's going rather slow. We're going to go back to my bad, see how he's getting on. He's done his out lap. He's just going to come round to start his flying lap. I'm trying to see if DRS is open, and I don't think it is. So DRS is not available yet, which is quite surprising. I thought DRS would have been available.
And with the DRS symbol, that's normally a sure sign the track's ready for those slick tyres. I'm just looking at the timing screen here, Steve, and we only have 4 tracks out. I think we may have a mad rush in the last 2 minutes.
Yeah, quite possibly. Well, my bad's first sector was a 19.0, and that's about a second off what it needs to be. So it's not any quicker for him at the moment in that first sector. Well, second sector, we've been seeing 34s, and it'd be interesting to see what my bad, whether he can creep into those 34s. with him not going for the ultra soft compound, would these tyres are they more likely to be suited to this sort of conditions rather than the ultra soft?
If it was me, I would have gone for the supers myself, the slightly harder compound. But with my bad, he's either called this spot on because, taking into account if he's got enough fuel on board to pump in some more laps, his tyres will be up to temperature over everybody else that tries this now.
Yeah, well, there's cars leaving the pit lane, but they're still on the intermediate tyres, apart from Caribbean Crush. As my bad comes around the last corner, it's not going to be a great time, but like you're saying, he may be able to get his tyres up to temperature.
We've got Gonk on the super softs as well.
Yeah, Gonk
into turn one. Ooh, bit wide. Yeah, we got a mad rush now, Steve. They're all pulling out. Now we're going up to sector one. I'll fill you in on his first sector time as we come across 18.5. I think we're there. I think we're coming there now. One more lap.
And Mr. Loki is out on circuit and he is on the slick tyres, and it may be the correct time for him. Mr. Loki has got his out lap to do before he starts his flying one. Caribbean Crush, he's on an out lap. He's on the super softs as well. Kane Ianda, he's the driver that I saw leaving the pits on a set of intermediates, and he's still only done 18.1 sector 1. So maybe he's now thinking, oops, I should have come out on a set of slick tyres, or possibly, is it not going to work for the slicks? Is this Kane's opportunity to go and steal that pole position from Caribbean Crush? I'll just call him Carol.
I think we're there now. A little bit of information for you. We have Calzo and a Razor on the Ultras. They might be the guys to watch here.
Yeah. Oh, Caribbean Crush, I've just been told that Caribbean Crush has just had a bit of an incident with a wall. He's going very slow. That could be his qualifying over. He is in P1, but I don't think he's going to be able to improve on his time. So let's go find Calzo, who is just about to start a lap. He's currently P4. He's on the Ultra Softs. Now, being on the Ultra Softs, he could get a very good start. In fact, thinking back to the start of the race, thinking back to the start of the race we've not had yet, the weather forecast, I should say, to the start of the race. If you know it's going to be wet, you might as well qualify on the Ultra Softs if it's dry enough, because you're not going to need them for the start of the race. And it's a 17.3 sector 1, and we've been booted out of the pit lane. So let's get back to Calzo and see how he's getting on. So Calzo, this could be potential pole position here. His nice shiny green helmet and his purple walled tyres. He's got a car ahead of him. Hopefully that's not going to put him off too much. We've got no idea what he's going to be like on his split times at the moment. There's 2 corners to go. Not exactly too much to put wrong. It looks like it might be his teammate ahead of him. Not necessarily teammate, but driver in the same team. 1 corner to go. He's going to get a bit of slipstream here.
Dragon's just taken pole. OG Dragon on Super Softs. Just been taken from him.
Yeah, Calzo has just followed him across the line and snatched it straight out of his hands. So Kane Iander's coming to finish his lap on Inters. It's not going to work. But Mr. Loki,
he's
yeah,
that's it.
That is qualifying over. So in a moment you're going to be able to read us the qualifying positions. Oh, that was very quick for the positions to come up. Okay, what we're going to need to do is for you to read these out for us, and then I'll be leaving shortly to rejoin for the start of the race.
No worries. So in pole with a 1 minute 12.9 in changeable conditions is Calzo, followed by the OG Dragon, followed by Gonk in 3rd, a Razor in 4th, My Bad in 5th, Caribbean Crush in 6th, Kane Leander 7th, SBL Mana Kekech in 8th. I have a Felipe Nasr and a Lewis Hamilton in 9th and 10th. Don't know who they are. John 94 Rhinos 11th, Willow Wolves 12th, Drew in 13th, Neo Tig Jr. 14th, Puzo, unsure, 15th, Mr. Loki 16th, followed by GPDP and myself, with Felipe Massa making up the rear.
Okay, thank you very much. So at this point now we're waiting for the cars to line up on the grid, for the drivers to be able to set up their race strategy. I'm pretty sure it'll be wet tyres, and
we are on the grid, Steve, and It looks like a monsoon, my good man. Once we get going, I will let you know.
Great stuff. Now, with it being the reserve race, the drivers don't necessarily have to wait the 1 minute, and somebody has already hit a race start, so somebody is very eager. Yep, so no one gets any time of grace at all. Not that they necessarily need it for the reserves. So the cars will start moving. When they do, you will obviously let me know. I'm going to use this opportunity very quickly to say about the question of the day. If you think you know the answer, whack it in the YouTube comments, and that is, what car shares the Pagani Zonda's temperature controls? So that was the question of the day.
This is going to be some really small company in it, Steve. You've really picked the good.
I guess where the formation lap is underway, yeah?
We are just getting going now. I have moved, yes.
Okay, good stuff. I am on my way back in. Yeah, just if you want to have a look through for me the race directors and see if everybody is definitely starting on the full wet tyres or whether anybody has dared remove them.
I've just checked. We have every driver on the full wets. Nobody's being brave today.
Jumping with my comment from after qualifying, interesting that my bad sort of kicked off a gamble of the dry tyres, and for those who it worked for, it really paid off. Obviously at the end of qualifying, the top 5 drivers, I think it was, had slick tyres on. Nobody else was able to get a lap time in on the slick, so the race could be very interesting because there's the possibility of slightly faster drivers being a little further down the grid.
Yeah, and talking about that, and the guys that we would expect to be near the front, like a Mr. Loki, is in 14th place. But I'm pretty sure for Mr. Loki, he's going to thrive on that because he loves to come through from the back of the field and overtake. Obviously, he would prefer to win the race outright and nice and easy and run away with it. But there's nothing better than actually showing people what you can do by overtaking.
Yeah, and there's no better way to show what potential you've got than going from back to front in the reserves for possible drive next week around Austria.
That is true, and on that I will ask you something in a moment, but we're going to get this race underway before I get too technical, because my small brain can't cope. Right, so the drivers are lined up on the grid, all cars are in position, we're watching the front row, and it is Calzo and OG Dragon on the front row. The lights are on, the lights go out, the cars are slow to move away in the wet, but they are now heading towards turn 1. And Calzo's got a nice clean start. Looks like he'll be going around that corner, but Ferraris have a bit of a coming together. There's a bit of an incident near the back, but the front few are through quite cleanly, and it looks like Calzo's got a bit of a break there from OG Dragon, maybe being a little bit cautious, not wanting to get too close to the leader. But yeah, nice start from the front 4 or 5 cars there. A little bit of an incident further down, which I'm sure we'll get a bit of information on later on. Oh, who's in the red? Who's in that there? Who's the Toro Rosso? Mr. Loki sat in 14th place still. Did he have a bit of an incident at the start? Yeah, Mr. Loki had a bit of an incident near the start apparently. Side by side action.
You now, see?
Yeah, thank you. A Razor has just made an overtake. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so my bad is in 7th position. Drew is in 9th with Kane Ianda trying to squeeze past him, but there's not enough room there. Drew says, nope, you're not coming past there. Drew definitely shuts the door on him. As we've got a car going across the grass there. Who is that? Is that a Razor? Did he have a bit of an incident? Oh, that'll be unfortunate for him. Well, I'm pretty sure he'll be able to recover from there. And a Renault going really wide. Yeah, if you let me know who that Renault was, that'd be good. But it was way off the circuit. Probably got a bit of dirty air. Just having a look back near the front, and Calzo has still got a nice lead over OG Dragon. It's just about a second at the moment, and then in 3rd place, a nice drive for Gonk at the moment in his Haas.
We just had Kane Leander lose his rear end that I caught, and now he is 14th. It's getting a bit crowded, getting a bit tight, a bit more respect.
Okay, we've got Maybad in 6th position, and he's got a car right up behind him, and just in his mirrors. I'm getting a really poor camera view of this, and he's just had a bit of contact. There we are. And that Williams, I believe to be Drew, with his not orange helmet, it's red. I tell you what, even with a bit of traction control on, they're struggling in these conditions, aren't they?
They are massively. And that Renault that span in the background for the info was Neotig Jr. He looks like he's a man on a mission now. He's already up to the back of the pack.
Okay, behind Gonk is Caribbean Crush, yeah. And Gonk sideways. He's gone wide now, the last corner, and he's going to be under pressure from Caribbean Crush as they head up towards turn 1. Give me another camera angle, please, because I don't like this one. There we go, Caribbean Crush up the inside. Take the apex nicely, and the move is done. Now Gonk is going to be under pressure by SBL Mali Kekech, who's just drive straight past him as if he's not there. I'm wondering if Gonk may have a little bit of a technical problem with his car, or is it just probably way too much downforce, or not enough? Oh well, we don't know. We'll maybe find out if he makes it to the podium, or maybe write us a message and let us know later.
I'm on board with the OG Dragon, and Caldo, if he thought he was going to walk away with this race, he's got a bit of company. Might be worth keeping an eye on, Steve, as you go.
Yeah, he is. He's staying within a second of him, isn't he? And if you were OG Dragon in this situation, would you just try and sit there and bide your time, make sure you don't put a foot wrong, but keep the pressure onto the car ahead of you?
No, I don't know if that's a dig or not, Steve. No, that's the best thing to do, because in the wet around this track, there's only a couple of opportunities to overtake. Other than that, you've got to wait for the guy in front of you to make a mistake in these conditions.
Some info for you as well. On my screen, your car, Steve, is parked on the inside of the apex of turn 1, which is a good way of stopping drivers from the corner if the car is there. No, it's gone now.
Okay, thank you for that, DP. So yeah, it wasn't there on that particular lap, which is a bit of a strange one to have the car parked on the first corner. I have had a bit of information passed to me as well that one of the drivers got a stop-go penalty for track limits.
Steve, you've got a Razor
yeah.
in 10th. I believe it's 10th, looking to make a move on the Red Bull. No, thinks better of it, Maybe down to turn 3, he may pursue the move. We should see tricky conditions though. Gets a good exit. May get the run. We might do a coming to get you. No, I think he's going to stick this one out. Did
you say a coming together?
Yeah, a coming to get you, Steve, a coming to get you.
I've just been up at the second position, has gone now to Caribbean Crush. Let's go and have a quick look. He's made the move on OG Dragon, and I don't think OG was expecting that at all. It seemed to have come out of nowhere. He wasn't anywhere near there a few laps ago. I wonder if OG Dragon made a bit of an error. So Calzo's got a bit of a break now up at the front with a 2-second lead. SBL Mali Kekech is now making that move up the inside into turn 1, and he's got it done, has he? Or is... No, I think he's going to have a problem here down in towards turn 2, and maybe side by side. It's not going to be easy to say who's going to have the better part of the circuit, because sometimes in these conditions, off the dry line, in wet conditions, can give you more traction. Excuse me, one minute.
True, they can.
Yeah. Sorry if you're... yeah, anyway, I was just going to say something then, but it doesn't matter. Yeah, Caribbean Crush is on a big push at the moment then, so he'll be catching up the leader Calzo in the next lap or so, because he's been overtaking a car each lap at the moment. Well, his next car to overtake is the leader. Now, if there's anything happening a bit further down the field, Dave, don't be frightened of shouting it out.
Steve, I'm going to have to stop you there. A Razor has just gotten past Puzo, and he's made the move stick this time down into turn 3. Now let's see if he can catch up to the Ferrari ahead of him, who is Willow Wolves, next target.
Yeah, we'll see how far away that gap is for a Razor. For a Razor to Willow Wolves, we're looking only at a couple of seconds, so there is the possibility there for him. as Drew goes a little bit wide out of a corner. I believe that to be Drew. Yes, it is. Drew currently running in 7th place. Conditions, are they changing yet, or is it still as wet as it was, would you say?
I'm on board. They look the same. Tyre marks are starting to come clearer in the track. I'd say we're looking at sticking with these full wets for the next 10 laps. Easy, Steve.
Yeah.
The guys are all struggling. I think we're starting to see what type of setups people have. As we saw OG Dragon in 2nd, he's now dropping off the top 3. So we're starting to see who went with lower downforce and who went with the higher.
Yeah, and the ones with the higher downforce might be benefiting in these conditions. But towards the end of the race, though, it could sort of switch back. It all depends on whether you're able to make your advantage count now while the sun shines. Well, you know what I mean, while it doesn't shine. Yeah, Caribbean Crush closing in. Again, more on Calso. To do with the intermediate tyres, if it starts to dry up and you get it wrong and you go into the intermediates too soon, you could end up losing 30 seconds to a minute, couldn't you? But if you get it right, you could gain just equally as much time.
It is one of those ones where it can make or break your race in a heartbeat. Feel like retiring. But no, you're right, because as we know with the full wets, they're blocks, whereas the inters are sort of semi-racing slicks. So if those blocks overheat, it's initially like driving on ice.
Okay. DP has just taken a break from us, so thank you very much, DP. Caribbean Crush then is in a bit of slipstream of Calzo, but I don't think he's going to just jump into overtaking any time soon when it's not safe to. He'll be making sure it's a clear way through, I would have thought. It's nice to see these new drivers coming in and pushing it with some of the faster guys. When you first joined Front Row Racing, the reserves, who were the main drivers that you were competing against, and what was your first thoughts when you first joined Front Row Racing?
When I first joined, I came in with the attitude of you need to beat everybody, go wheel to wheel with them. You need to be confident enough to know what somebody will do, what somebody won't do when driving with them, and be respectful. But I came in, beat last year's world champ. I was quite happy with that, unbeknown to me, and had a cracking race against 2 of the top 5 drivers, I would say, within the WC. So I was quite chuffed with myself. But when you come in, it's a bit nerve-wracking because you don't know what's what. There's rules in place, and you need to feel your way in. But
Yeah.
as we're speaking, Steve, a Razor is now on the back of Willow Wolves. Now he's the man on the move at the moment. Man on the move.
Yeah, okay, we're having a little look at a Razor. So, as a Razor makes progress heading towards Willow, when you are a reserve and you're taking part in these reserve races, you're obviously trying to impress, trying to show what you can do. But what can you do to show what abilities you've got? What's the best thing you can do apart from win a race?
The best thing to do. The best thing you can do to start with is read the rule book. Make sure you're going in knowing what rules are in place, because if you miss a rule, forget to do something, you can end up being disqualified, etc. Ask your teammate for advice of anything you may not know. Enjoy the moment. Feel free to get your elbows out, because you've got to prove yourself in these leagues. You've got to show them you know pushover. I've said it before. But make sure you follow the rules. The guys ain't looking for the fastest man on track. They're not looking for the man that can get the pole positions. They're looking for the man that can keep the car in between the white lines and have a good, clean, solid race.
Yeah, that is true. Now, just to clarify what you mean there on the rules and the rule book, on YouTube, on the Front Row Racing YouTube channel, there is the Front Row Racing rule book. Now, for the reserve races, not all rules are in place. Caribbean Crush looking like he's going to make a move for the lead, and as he put his foot down, the back end didn't want to go where the front was going, and he was unable to make the corner, and the overtake, I should say. But he's getting closer and closer, and he might be able to make an overtake soon. So yeah, I'm going to keep an eye on this one for a moment. He's looking very eager, shall we say, at this point now. So yeah, the rules, the reserve races, we don't run all the full Front Row Racing rules, but it's worth racing to them to try and respect them a little bit, to try and show you, the main league drivers that you know what it's all about, so that if they're looking to pick you as a reserve driver for when they're not available, they know you know your stuff, basically, which is what we were trying to say.
Totally agree with that, Steve, because people come into the reserves and have an understanding. You can kind of, Willow's just gone wide, can't look corner, Puzo's through, he's gone. That's a Razor and Puzo, both taking Willow in one lap 9. Yeah, sorry about that, Steve.
That's alright.
With the rules, it's best to try and adapt to them in the reserve race. Willow Wolves is coming back. Sorry, inside.
Yeah.
Think better of it. Sorry. Moving back to the rules. Through my experience, the best thing to do is to read the rule book, use the first few reserve races you join or in, and use that to set the goals of following the rules, because when you do that, you know what's expected of you in a championship race or World Series race going forward to help the team out that you're filling the seat for.
Yeah, but also what can be useful for some of the reserve drivers is watch your racers back that you're involved in, because quite often the commentary team can say certain things and you go, oh, I didn't know that, and you can learn things, and it may just be something as small as that the reason why we run the reserve league is because of the main leagues can pick you as a reserve driver, but also...
Sorry to interrupt, Steve.
Yeah.
We've got Malakekech in the pits. I wonder if he's going for the inters. I'm on board with him now. He's going for inters. I don't know what you're seeing. I will stay on board with him and see how he does.
Okay, yeah, he was in 3rd position. Calzo's left the session. Calzo.
Oh no.
He was in the lead. He'll be absolutely gutted about that, because he set the pole. He was on pole position and he was leading the race. I wouldn't say comfortably, but he was leading the race. And Caribbean Crush is just going to have a free overtake on him. That is rather unfortunate for Calzo. And if Calzo is aware of the rules, which I'm pretty sure he will be, with his brother being able to inform him of the rules, he can come back and take control of his car if he retires it. But yeah, you're not supposed to come back and take control of your car and continue. We see it as a technical fault within your car in a way, and that is your race over. So unfortunate there for Calzo. And that is how temperamental his internet can be, unfortunate, and that's why his brother was unsure about, as his brother, if anyone's not aware, is Gonzo from the World Series, why there was a question mark whether his brother was actually going to let him be a reserve in the World Series.
Malakekech, sorry Steve, Malakekech has just stormed past through. The conditions are ready. I don't know if any of those leaders have gone into the change yet. If they haven't, I think Kekech is going to get a big jump here.
Yeah, and I've just clicked over onto Malakekech, and yeah, it's pulling away from Drew big time, as I've just seen a Haas going into the pits and a Manor coming out of the pits, and that Manor coming out of the pits must be Caribbean Crush. It is, and he has lost out. Yeah, big time.
Kekech is gone.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether Caribbean Crush was, because he was down in the field, like position 5 and 6 or whatever when he came out the pits. The leader, Caribbean Crush, wasn't getting the delta time, so he didn't know exactly how quick Malakekech was actually being at that time. But yeah, the time has come for these cars to be on the intermediate tyres. As Drew just had another look back up the inside of Caribbean Crush, but it was not on, and Drew is facing the wrong way. Unfortunate there for Drew. Yeah, if you're...
Sorry, Steve, carry on.
No, I was just going to say, if you've just been overtaken by a car that's on intermediates and you're on full wets, surely that's like a little signal in your head that should go, oh, I maybe should be on those tyres, and you wouldn't necessarily try and overtake them straight back again.
No, from experience, you wouldn't do that, and that would be alarm bells going, I've made a big mistake.
Yeah, as Malakekech is a 1:19.3, which is fastest lap of the race, and if that isn't a signal to everybody that the time has come for intermediate tyres, I don't know any other clearer signal that you can get, other than waiting for the DRS to be available, but then that's when it's dry tyres, not intermediates.
Yeah, I'm just looking through the field, Steve. It looks like they've all spread out for a minute now. Oh, no. Neo, no. Think better of it into picking out in the corner. Kane Leander. Ooh, they're not stopping. No, he's gone. There we go. He's through.
Who was that, sorry?
Kane Leander on Neo Tig. Final corner. Slip through for 11th and 12th.
Yeah, it does look like all the pit stops have been done. Just been having a quick look through the field, and I believe everybody now is on the intermediate tyres. I think once one driver does it and it shows how much quicker they are, it doesn't take long for everyone else to follow suit. I mean, the question now is though, how much drier is this circuit going to get? Because it's not really known for getting dry that quickly, but it is still raining. It's just not that heavy. So
no, I think they've got rid of the heavy rains past now. We're now into some light rain. I'm on board with a razor as we speak, and Peachy's flying. To be fair, he's flying. But no, the weather doesn't look like it's changing from the point of view I've got at the moment, Steve. Maybe a long haul.
Is there a reason why you're always on board with a razor? Have you got a little thing like a bit of a fan fetish there going on?
No. The only reason I'm following a razor is because Fuso is not letting him go. They are tit for tat with lap time by the look of it. Fuso's got a good exit out of turn 1 actually. He may go for the overtake into turn 2.
He is close, isn't he?
Coming up. A bit far away? No. Not wise.
No, he was just putting his car clearly in his mirrors, letting a razor know that he was there. So not following him directly behind, but also it can be wise doing that in these sort of conditions to make sure you get a clear idea of where you are on the circuit and use, so you don't have to totally rely on your peripheral vision, because visibility is still not easy in these conditions. I mean, us watching these cars go around from here, we can see the cars clearly, but when you're actually on board, right tucked up behind, it's not easy to see at all, is it?
No, not at all. It's kind of, you've got to have a lot of respect and trust the driver you're racing against. Puzo got damage? He's having some problems here.
Yeah, I just saw him go really wide through the fast couple of corners.
No damage I can see here. Maybe he's just had a bad moment where he's off again. Ooh.
So yeah, Puzo, how wide is that? Oh, it's going to be the wall. I'm surprised. I'm surprised he's not lost a wheel. That Red Bull is built like a brick wall.
Yeah. I think we might see Puzo coming in this lap though. He's suffered quite a lot of front wheel damage to the right side. Possibly a retirement, coming up.
And Caribbean Crush, who lost out during the pit stops, is having to catch up. Puzo has retired. His race is over. He's called it quits on today. So yeah, Caribbean Crush starting to catch up the leader again. He's going to have to do all his hard work once again, hoping that he doesn't get undercut later on. But while I can, I'm just going to use this opportunity to remind people of the question of the day, which is, what car shares the Pagani Zonda's temperature controls? It's as easy as that. So if you think you know the answer, stick it in the YouTube comments. You said probably a Honda. I think DP said Volkswagen Beetle. Well, I shall let you all know when we've asked the podium drivers a little bit later on. So Mali Kekec still leading the race, and the conditions are not improving that much for him, but he is under pressure from Caribbean Crush, who's having a good showing here in his debut in front row racing. In third place, OG Dragon, another debut driver, a few more seconds further down the road. But Kane Anders set the fastest lap of the race. Is he still on the intermediates?
Sorry, Steve, a razor. No, thinking of the move.
Not a razor. No.
Oh, he's gone for it. Exit turn 2. Now it's a drag race. Now we have a drag race. Can he hold on to it down into turn 3? He's made the move stick. Sorry to cut you off there, Steve.
No, it's fine. No, you were just on board with a razor again. No, Kane Anders
set the man giving the action at the moment.
He is. Kane Anders set the fastest lap of the race. Ooh, just saw a razor going a little bit wide onto the grass, but he's managed to keep it on the black stuff. Yeah. Kane Anders set the fastest lap of the race. So I thought, is he still on the same compound of tyre, or did he take a gamble going for the dry tyres? Was it the right time? But no, he is on the intermediates. He has set the fastest lap of the race. So Kane Ayanda could be a driver that is making progress. And has he got anybody just in front of him? He is in 9th position. 10th is John Rhinos, and it's Willow Wolves that's in 8th, and he's right up the rear. And as the conditions are getting, Willow Wolves wide out of, no, it wasn't Willow Wolves, who's that? That's Drew, was wide out of the last corner with his not so orange red helmet. Yeah,
with that fastest lap time being set, Steve, it could be a sign that the rain is easing off bit by bit.
Yeah, I was wondering as well whether we're now going to start finding out the drivers that have got the more lower air force downforce arrows, as Willow Wolves is under pressure and has been overtaken by, no, that is a bit of lag that we're seeing there from one of the drivers. Unfortunately, Kane Anders made the move though, as he now attacks the car in front, which is Drew. Yeah, I'm just wondering if now we're going to see the guys that have got the more drier setup starting to make it show, and that might be where Kane might be able to improve. I was just thinking back to one of the previous races. I can't remember what circuit it was, but he was running a dry setup in wet conditions, and he was really struggling in the wet conditions, but once it got dry, it was really, really quick, and it was clear to see. So coming around the last corner, and he's right up behind Drew, and is he going to make a move up into turn 1 for 7th position? I think he's a little bit too far behind. He's just going to follow him through turn 1, get a best exit as he can out of 1, and he's going to have him on the acceleration, and that's where he's able to make it count at the moment. Excuse me.
I'm up at the front here, Steve, following Caribbean Crush and Kekech, and I think what you just described is the situation we have here. Kekech seems to have the arrow in the corners. Caribbean Crush is catching him every straight. I mean, they're literally 2 tenths apart now. They get any closer, they'll be kissing.
Yeah. Or as DP would say, he'd be able to flick him on his ears.
Yeah. But yeah, I think this is a prime. No. I think this is exactly what you've just explained there, where we've got one car's got the straight line speed, one car that's got the cornering speed, and it's just not working for Caribbean Crush at the moment. A bit more drier, we might see him attack a bit more into these corners.
Yeah, and I think if I was Caribbean Crush, I don't know what I would do. I suppose if the opportunity is there to overtake, you take it, and then if you're able to run away, you run away. But what you don't want to do is anything silly, and I don't think he will do, but he's looking up the inside of turn 3, not a normal place to try and make an overtake. Doesn't normally stick on the inside, as he just found. Around this circuit, best place for you to overtake, Dave, where would you say?
Personally, it's a favourite, and I'm going to give this away. My personal favourite is you've got to do it in turn 2, because if you can just get that drive, get the DRS as well, get the overtake down into turn 2, then you've got the advantage on the exit down to turn 3. The car behind should not be able to get the run onto you going into the middle sector where there's not really a place to overtake. But Temp Fear showed us yesterday in these conditions it can be done.
Yeah, it can be done. So turn 2, that's the best place to make the overtake, like you've just said, and get that DRS as well to help pull away. Where would you say is the most stupidest place to overtake around here, where you would say you would not expect an overtake in that place there because it's dangerous or just not expected for whatever reason?
If I'm honest, the worst place would have to be the penultimate corner. It's a very fast corner in the dry. I think you're taking it about 160, 150 miles an hour, and a car coming up your inside there's only one really turn-in point. Because you're going straight to the apex and straight back off. That would be the most surprising place I'd expect someone to overtake me. A little bit of info for you though, Steve. I think this is a bad call. We've got Gonk on super soft tyres.
Gonk on super soft tyres. Well, that'll be interesting. Yeah, it could be.
He's gone. Turn 2. No, not slowing down. I think he's gone a few laps too early with the rain.
I think he may have found it is a bit too early. I mean, the rain is still falling. That for me is a sign that it's not ready yet. You've got to have rain. Not, I know he's coming back. No, he's not. He's losing another position. Sorry, I do apologise. Yeah, I think that...
Possible mistake there. Possible mistake. I think he may have wanted another set of injuries there.
Quite possibly. If you were... What lap did we go on to the Inters? It was probably about lap 10-ish. So they've done about probably 10 laps on these Inters. How many laps do you reckon the Inters would be good for in these conditions?
In these conditions, as a
bear with me. Caribbean Crush is alongside the leader, Mali Kekec. It's a drag race to turn 3. And there's a bit of touching wheels. And Caribbean Crush is going to be round the outside of 3. And it's not an easy corner to overtake on, because it continues on into turn 4. And you're just going to find yourself hung out to dry. And Mali Kekec manages to defend it quite nicely. So is he going to have a look into the penultimate corner where you say that you wouldn't necessarily expect somebody to come and have a look at you there? As the track gets drier, Caribbean Crusher is just going to get quicker. Is that a move for the pit lane? It's not. It was a dummy move for the pit lane, or a defensive move for the penultimate corner by Mali Kekec. But all he's going to do is slow himself down the more defensive he goes. But it does mean he keeps the lead. I'm surprised at the exit speed of Mali Kekec. At the last corner, he got a really good drag out of that last corner. His downforce is helping him a lot there. But Caribbean Crush now, as they head down towards turn 2, is he going to be able to have another look at him? I think he's thinking this is his part of the race. This is where he needs to make it count. I think Caribbean Crush, though, would be better off staying... And I'll say that, I'll explain why, but I think he'd be better off staying behind him, to be fair. I'll explain why in a moment.
That's what I would do, stay behind him, and personally I'd wait for a mistake, or I'd wait, because the rain does look like it is easing more and more here. You may see slicks at the end.
Yeah, I was just thinking, the drier it gets, you can see the drier it's been getting, the quicker Caribbean Crush has been getting compared to SPL Mali Kekec. So to me, if he was ahead of Mali Kekec could do an undercut on him, and when it's time for the dry tyres, and Caribbean Crush couldn't do anything about it because he's already gone past the pit entry. Whereas if you're behind him and SPL Mali Kekec decides to try and undercut, you can follow him in. So the undercut can't be done.
Info for you, Steve.
Yeah.
Sector 3 has now stopped raining.
Sector 3 stopped raining. And I'm at turn 1, and I don't see any rain at turn 1. I'm going to go on board with Caribbean Crush, and it doesn't look like there's too much water being kicked up from Mali Kekec. That's only the moisture we're getting. Is he going to make a move up in the inside? No, a little bit of a lock up there though, bit of tyre squealing. How can he get on the exit? Has he got the power? Has he got the straight line speed? He should have. He might have this done down into turn 3. Very close together. Oh, and there's contact, and that's Mali Kekec into the wall and out of the race. Oh my days, that was an unfortunate incident. It just looked like the tiniest bit of contact between the two tyres, and it just speared him into the wall.
I missed that, Steve. I missed what happened, but in these conditions, in a drying track, one slight piece of contact can send you anywhere.
Yeah. Okay, well, with Caribbean Crush now in the lead, we're going to scroll through, see where everybody else is, and try and find who is in second place. It is OG Dragon, 9.7 seconds in the Haas. Then we've got a Razor 21 in third place. My Bad running in fourth place. K Nyanda in fifth. Drew in sixth. Closely followed by Willow Wolves in the Ferrari in seventh position. John Rhinos in eighth place. And Gonk in 10th, and he is still on the slick tyres, unless he's gone in and out a few more times. But we saw him about 3 laps ago on slick tyres, and it was obvious it wasn't working. Neo Tig in 11th position. Okay, so let's go and find the two cars that were closest together, and it was Willow Wolves and Drew. Can Willow Wolves catch him up? Will anybody else go for a set of the slick tyres at any point soon?
My bad, in the pits, going for softs.
Ooh, so my bad's pitted for the soft tyres. This is exactly where, if you make the call at the right time, you can gain massive amount of time. But if you get it wrong, the race over pretty much.
By masses, you're right there. I made a bad decision yesterday in the WSR race, and I lost out going on to the Inters, and I made the bad call coming off them, and I lost out big.
But fortunately for yourself, you were still good enough to still take the victory yesterday. So
stop it, Steve.
It must be though a nice feeling that you know you've made mistakes, but you're still able to take a victory. That, you know, you're disappointed you made an error, but to be able to make your strategy still work, it still must feel good, even though you know you could have done better.
Against the competition, it was it's a booster for you. They're quick drivers, just like these guys here. We're seeing some good driving at the moment, and just give you a bit of confidence with a possible seat next week. Fortunate myself, I've got a seat, but we're about to find out if these guys are going to make the same mistake I did, or if they're going to dive in at once. Yeah,
Willow Wolves just ran wide out of the last corner onto the AstroTurf, and I tell you what, the AstroTurf is just as wet as the circuit was a few laps ago. And if anybody is on slick tyres and they run wide off the circuit, it's not going to be very nice for them. And I'm trying to find my bad to see how he's getting on his slick tyres. He's on the soft compound, so he will be going to the end on those tyres. And I was just about to ask you, what compound of tyre would you go on with 11 or 12 laps to go? I'm just trying to think back to yesterday, what tyre it was you went on at the end.
Yesterday I took the super softs. They were within the window. These conditions as they are, you may get away with a set of ultra softs. They would be able to carry because it's cool. It just depends if you can light them up with the temperature.
Yeah, and my bad, blue flags letting the leader through. That was nicely done from my bad there. As Caribbean Crush has lapped him. And that might just be a bit of a sign that the Inters may just be the tyre to be on at the moment, but we're very close to that window, aren't we? We've got to say any time soon it's going to be the changeover.
Any lap. The one thing I've noticed the front two, there's OG Dragon is holding the gap to about 10.5 seconds, and they're both sticking it out. So I think these two may have got it right here. They've got a big lead for third place.
Yeah, and third place is your favourite, Eraser. And he is still on.
A bit of a razor.
Yeah, he's a sharp one, he is. Kane Ianda in fourth position, and is Sauber. I thought he was a little bit close to a Razor, but I think it may be a Razor's got a back marker around him.
Talking about the ultra softs, Steve, we've got Gonk now on ultra softs, so this could be an indicator if this works or not.
So Gonk is now on. There's the answer.
He's lost it.
Yeah, he was on the soft tyres last lap, so I think he may have been on every single compound of tyre in this race so far. Well, he may just be taking this race as a learning process and trying to find out what each compound is like in different conditions. So he's now found out what they are like in the damp.
Well, with everything that's gone on, drivers like John 94 Rhinos and Willow Wolves have stuck to their guns, and they have just found themselves in 5th and 6th.
Yeah, I'm just wondering as well, if you're in a race where you've started on wet tyres, we know then that the mandatory tyre rule isn't taken into account. You don't have to run two different compounds of tyre. So if you're a novice, what is the possibility of some of these drivers, as Gonk unfortunately has retired from the race, what is the possibility of some drivers thinking, oh, I still need to run the soft compound tyre?
If they're not, if they don't follow Formula 1 and stands, then it would be a very amateur mistake to do that. But it's understandable because you see the word mandatory, you believe you've got to stick to it. But as it goes, it's a learning curve. So as people need to understand, once it rains, any tyre you want, there's no mandatory tyre.
So in with that, that means if it's wet for the whole race, you could basically, if the tyre would last, stay on the wet tyre from the start of the race to the checkered flag and not pit stop.
Exactly that, Steve. Exactly that. Same with the Inters. If we had light rain and your setup was that good, you could carry one set all the way to the end. No need to pit stop.
There you go. A quick reminder, a question of the day, if anybody wishes to have a guess, and I'm going to ask DP in a moment. Just no, he's shaking his head. I just want to know if there's anyone on YouTube that may have answered already or may want to answer the question of the day. And the question of the day is, what car shares the Pagani's Honda's temperature controls? I think the answer is a bit of a random answer, to be fair, as well. So there we go. Right, OG Dragon, not quite keeping with the leader at the moment, just dropping a little bit further off, but he'll be quite happy to be sat in second place at the moment, I would have thought, behind Caribbean Crush. So Eraser sat in third place, still not pitted, for a set of dry tyres. Kane Nyanda sat in fourth position, still on the intermediates. Willow Wolves, he's not pitted, he's still on the intermediate tyres. Then we've got John 94 Rhinos in the other Ferrari, and he is still on the intermediate tyres. Drew in 7th place, unfortunately left the session, he's dropped out, so his car is just driving around by itself. My bad, I think, may have realised that it was a bad decision to go onto the slick tyres when he did, but he's sticking it out, he's stayed on them, and thinking about making the incorrect decision for tyres. I mean, it may be working for him now, but if it was you, Dave, and you've made a pit stop and you realise, oh, maybe I've come in 1 or 2 laps too soon for my tyres, what would you do? Do you pit straight away and change them back, or do you stick them out? What would you do?
If the window was literally 2 laps, Steve, I'd stick it out. If the window was a little bit bigger, there's an old saying, I think it's been mentioned a couple of times by the commentary crew and yourself, you must be on the right tyre at the right time. It doesn't matter if you make 1 pit stop or 5, you will benefit it at the end.
Okay, I've just had some information from a engineer of one of the drivers that Kane has had a puncture. He's had to head to the pit lane with a puncture. No, he's still heading towards the pit lane with a puncture. Is that a sign these tyres have had it? And even if you wanted to stay on the intermediates, you're going to have to put another set of intermediates on.
This is a big sign. The spray's still coming up. It's touch and go. I don't know if it's ready to slip shut or not.
Well, Kane's struggling with that flat tyre. Like I saw one yesterday, it's still only flat at the bottom. It's not flat all the way round.
Steve,
yes.
A bit of information. Is this Caribbean Crush's first race?
It is. It's his debut in front row racing. Yes.
Well, the OG Dragon and Caribbean Crush, they've done brilliant. They've taken it by storm. They've kept out of trouble. They're 1 and 2. It's a great showing. It is. We've got OG Dragon in the pits.
What's he going to go for? Let's have a look. We're on board with him as he heads towards the speed trap. Got to get that speed down. He does it nicely. He's bang on 50 miles per hour. On what tyre? What colour?
Give you a heads up, Steve. Caribbean Crush has kept going. This could be make or break.
Yeah. So OG Dragon has gone for the super soft tyres, and there's only 5 laps to go. Surely I'd have gone. Well, for me, that would have been a set of ultra softs with that amount of laps. I'm surprised, and he's struggling to get the power down coming out of the pit lane, but he's still in second position, and that can't be Eraser that's right behind him, can it? No, Eraser is further down the road. I've got a feeling that Eraser may have pitted. Can't see the colour of his tyres. Let's have a look. He's on the purple tyres, so Eraser has been in the pits and already put the dry tyres on. Maybe that's what's made OG Dragon decide to pit, because he saw that Eraser had pitted and put the dry tyres on. And maybe with 5 laps to go, plus the lap that we're on, those Inters will not get to the end, as Caribbean Crush is heading for the pit lane.
He is indeed.
That probably was a wise thing, but we'll see now whether there could have been an undercut from OG Dragon in second place, but Caribbean Crush probably wisely has gone for the fastest tyre possible. He is on the ultra soft tyres. Where is OG Dragon?
Corner. Hit straight now. Here he comes.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to keep. I don't think he's going to be able to make the undercut pay enough to make that jump into first place, because Caribbean Crush is already on his way down towards turn 2. He's a lot closer than he was, but he's not going to be close enough.
No, I think Caribbean Crush has called this spot on. He's waited till the last minute, put the fastest tyre on. I think we may see some fastest laps from the guy now.
Yeah, and the one thing I was going to say just before you said OG Dragon was coming into the pits, and we said Drew had a puncher, was the fact that we've not seen any more fastest laps for a long time. And now, for me, that would be a bit of a clear sign that the intermediate tyres were no longer working. Whether it meant that they needed another set of inters, or whether it meant they needed to go on to dry tyres, they weren't working. So maybe why some of the drivers pitted earlier was they were burning their inters out a lot sooner, as John Rhinos goes and sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:17. So yeah, we're going to see quite a few more of those. OG Dragon coming around to complete a full flying lap. What's the lap time going to be? Because I'm pretty sure it's going to be a new fastest lap of the race. Still only 10 seconds behind the leader, and it's a 1:17.0. So he did make a bit of a gain on the leader actually during that lap. Not a massive amount, but a fair bit. Caribbean Crush just locking up. Yeah, it is looking good for Caribbean Crush. I don't want to commentate curse them too much, but yeah, these two debut races for both of them in front of racing, and I'm starting to wonder if they're aware that if they do make the podium, that they can come and have a chat with us for the podium questions. So it'll be interesting to have two new. I always like it when we've got new guys on the podium, because they won't be ready for the random questions.
More the question of the day.
Yeah, but also Eraser is currently sat in third place, and I'm going to have to ask Eraser the question that he always likes to ask everyone else.
Oh my god.
And if anyone would like to have a guess at what that question is going to be, put it in the YouTube comments at what question you think I'm going to ask Eraser.
I'll keep that one quiet. Can we ask him?
I was just thinking actually, Dave, whether you would want to ask him, because I'm pretty sure he asked you at one point.
You're correct there, Steve, actually. I'll tell you what, I'll fire that one back at him.
Yeah, I'll let you ask that one, as long as he makes the podium. The car behind him is Willow Wolves. Yeah. Is a 1 minute 2 seconds behind the leader is Willow Wolves, with Eraser being 46. So Willow Wolves 15 seconds behind Eraser. So Eraser's got to keep the pedal down and keep the car going. He can't just coast it home. He could be under pressure if he takes his foot off the throttle a bit too much. But also Kane Ander's still pushing hard. He's in 6th position on a set of ultra soft tyres. While we're just running this race down towards the checkered flag, I just want to mention as well that if you want to join Front Row Racing, find us on Facebook, Front Row Racing, and send us a message, say you're interested in joining. We run two sides, basically one is with assists, one is without assists. The with assists is pretty full up at the moment, and we're not actually taking names really for the no assists. We're quite chock-a-block. But if you want to run with no assists, send us a message. Say you're interested, you want to give no assists a go. That'll be the World Championship Reserves. We'll explain to you what you need to do to fill out your driver profile. And yeah, come and get involved with Front Row Racing. So
I've just noticed, Steve,
yes.
A little bit of information. OG Dragon Super Softs, Caribbean Crush Ultra Softs. OG Dragon is actually closing in on him, only by a couple of tenths a sector, but it would indicate the slightly harder compound was the better choice, unless Caribbean Crush feels like the job's done, turn the engine down.
There could be that. I mean, fuel usage around here? Is it a thirsty circuit, or is it one that you normally have a bit in reserve and you're not necessarily having to... I'm just wondering whether fuel would come into play here with them.
I'd say it's the kind of average circuit. It's not too heavy, it's not too light. You just got to use your fuel at the right places at the right time.
And just as you said that OG Dragon's catching up, Caribbean Crush is going to set the fastest lap of the race. But is OG Dragon going to go and take the fastest lap back again? He is. So there's a few more tenths off. Yeah, just going to remind you as well as we go on to the last lap of the race, Dave, that if you could very kindly for us take pictures of the result and send it to me for after the race, that'd be great.
Not a problem, Steve, not a problem.
Yeah. Obviously you're aware from doing that previously. So Caribbean Crush then on to the last lap of the race, heading around turn 3 towards turn 4. And if there'd have been about another 4 or 5 laps in this, maybe a little bit longer, then yeah, I think this would have been a good battle to keep an eye on up at the front, because OG Dragon would have been catching up Caribbean Crush. Now, talking about the difference in compounds, is it the fact that in the temperature the super softs might work better than the ultra softs? Do you think that's what it might have been?
I possibly think that myself. Again, with assists, I'm not experienced there, so the car reacts a little bit different.
Yeah.
But I'm watching OG's lap times here, and he is hammering into that lead. So
yeah, Caribbean Crush though. Caribbean Crush has crossed the line, he's taken the victory, but Kane has gone and set the fastest lap with a 1:13.9. Yeah, so in second place, it's going to let me change it, thank you very much. It won't let me change it now because he's going to cross the line. Thank you very much for not letting me change at that point. But we are on with a Razor. Nice solid race here for a Razor. Good friend of ours. Comes and joins us in the commentary box for the World Series. Mr. Anthony David's sister, is it? Is that what we call him? Yep. And I've got a nod from the head from Mr. Bossman over there. I was going to say, Dave, as well, as a Razor crosses the line, very well done for a Razor. At the moment, you can say whatever you want about Dave, because he's not in our chat room anymore, so he won't be able to hear you.
But I will
really? Wow. Yes. I like my job, I might actually have to keep my mouth shut.
He is listening on the live stream, though. Willow Wolves crosses the line for a 4th place. Nice solid result there by Willow Wolves. And there is the results then.
Following it up.
Yeah, a few penalties on the board, but we're not going to worry about those too much. So going through the results order, we've got Caribbean Crush in 1st, OG Dragon in 2nd, a Razor in 3rd, Willow Wolves in 4th, John Rhino's 5th, Kane 6th, My Bad in 7th, Neotig 8th, Valtteri Bottas in 9th, I think that's Drew's car, and then a few others that disconnected and we don't know who they were, but Malik Kekec 12th, and yeah, then us at the bottom, I believe. So yeah, a few disconnections rather than collisions that took them out of the event, which is always a little bit upsetting. But yeah, a nice race for some of the new guys there. So the podium will be with obviously myself and you coming to get you, but on the podium is Caribbean Crush P1, in P2 was OG Dragon, and 3 will be a Razor 21. Now, I don't know, Dave, whether you've got them on your friends list and able to invite them into the commentary box.
I've got the OG Dragon. As for the other 2, no, Steve. I'm getting connection problems at the moment.
Okay, well, I'll see if I can suggest them to you. Also, Caribbean Crush, if you are watching the live stream, please accept my friend request, because then it's easier to send you invitations. So, excuse me for the screen going blue for one moment while I send these suggested out. So, I'll do a Razor straight away for you, because there we go, there's a Razor suggestion. And then Caribbean Crush, let's have a look. Sorry about this, guys, just a bit of a wait to send the invites out for the podium drivers. With them being new, it just takes a little bit longer. We have got the Dragon joined us, which is nice to see. We'll be with you in a moment. Just make sure you got your microphone set to always allowed to share. I have sent you the suggestion for the third place on the grid. No, the winner, sorry, Caribbean Crush.
That's just been sent, Steve.
Yeah.
Just waiting for Caribbean Crush.
Okay, so a quick reminder of what the question of the day is, then I will ask the podium drivers the question of the day as well. So question of the day is, what car shares the Pagani's under temperature controls? So that's the question of the day. Yeah, so back over to the guys on the podium. I can hear myself in my ear a little bit, so if there's somebody that's watching the live stream while I'm asking you the questions, just stick that on mute for a moment. And yeah, great stuff, cheers. Okay, so the winner of the race then, Caribbean Crush, congratulations on your debut. How do you feel it went for you today? Well, from what we could see with yourself and the other cars around you, just bear with me one moment.
Can't hear Caribbean Crush.
Okay, Caribbean Crush, can you just make sure your microphone is definitely set to shared and in the party settings always allowed? Because on the live stream they're struggling to hear you at the moment.
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, so I'll ask that question again very quickly. How do you feel today went?
Yeah. Anyway, as I said before, I had good pace in the wet and intermediate conditions, and it set me up for a good result.
Yeah, from watching your car with the others around you, it almost seemed like you went for a lower air force. I've done it again. Lower aeros, downforce. Yeah. It seemed that way because you seemed to be getting quicker as the track got. Obviously, everyone did, but you seemed to be able to benefit the most as the track was getting drier. Was it a lower downforce?
Actually, it was 9.8 aero, 9 on the front wing and 8 on the rear wing. So I don't know how I improved more than the other people, but yeah.
It did come across to us that it was slightly lower than maybe that everyone else was running 11.11 then maybe, but yeah, very impressive for your first race in front row racing. I'm going to ask my co-commentator coming to get you if he's got any questions for you. Dave, do you have a question for Caribbean Crush?
Yeah, I got one after I heard all the pens scribbling down your arrows now. Towards the end, OG Dragon looked like he was closing the gap. Was that you just turning down the engine, taking your time, or were you still pushing on the ultra softs?
No, I was turning down the engine because I've been in that situation before, and I don't really want to throw away a win by trying to get the fastest lap. So just turned it down into lean, and since I don't use traction, there's more likelihood of me making mistakes. So I just made sure I could finish the race and get the 25 points.
Good stuff.
Well, without the traction control there, that is an impressive showing from yourself, I must admit, in those challenging conditions and with your first race here. The only other question I got before GP likes to ramble is, do you think you got the call right at the end? Because I think you were the last car to change onto the slick tyres there.
Yeah, I decided to just wait and see what everyone else does because I had such big of a lead, and if I had pit early and it wasn't the right conditions, I would have probably lost the lead or something like that, or made a mistake. So I decided to just wait and react to everyone else after they've made their stop.
Okay, well, I'll hand you back to GP. Congratulations, mate, and welcome to Front Row Racing Reserves.
Thank you.
All right, yeah. Question I want to ask very quickly is, you just mentioned that you don't run traction control. Now, this is obviously the assists allowed league, and it's optional. You can use whatever assists you want. You don't have to use them. But are you tempted in trying your hand at the no assists league, the World Championship Reserves?
Yeah, I'll probably give that a try. It's just that I'm kind of used to using the racing line, so I was just going with what was comfortable to me. So.
There's 8 corners around here. You don't need a racing line.
Yeah.
Well, what I'll say to you then is, and this goes for anybody that's in the World Series reserves, if you want to try for the World Championship reserves, send the main page on Facebook a message saying, yeah, include me in the World Championship reserves, and we'll stick you down on the list. So if it is something you're interested in doing, yeah, send us a message and we'll stick you on the list. Obviously the World Championship reserves runs one day before the World Series reserves. One thing I forgot to say actually is if there's anybody watching on YouTube that wants to ask any questions of the podium drivers, just write down in the YouTube chat at FRR and then your question, and we can ask these guys, and if we've got a question I'll ask it to them. But yeah, well done on your win. Stay with us for now because we will be asking you the question of the day in a moment. On to our second place driver, another noob to front row racing, debutant, the OG Dragon. Congratulations on coming second.
Cheers, man.
Yeah, quick question, just going to say, quick question for you. Why these super softs at the end rather than the ultra softs?
Because I needed the grip.
And because
normally I was going to select the soft tyres for the grip because the track was still a bit damp.
So this is
turn 1 and 2 up the hill was still wet, so yeah. I thought super softs is the way.
We was having a bit of a conversation about which tyres work best in those conditions, because in previous games normally you would go for the softest compound of rubber in the changeover conditions because they should theoretically warm up quicker. But in this version of the game, there's a conversation we had a bit yesterday, is it that the harder the tyre might work better in that sort of changeover conditions?
I just thought it would be the way to go.
Yeah, it did seem the way to go because you were catching up there on the leader, and it was impressive driving there. At the start of the race, you were a little bit far back from the cars at the front. Did you manage to get a qualifying time in that you were happy with, or did you miss out towards the end as it was getting drier?
I made a few mistakes on my laps, so yeah, I did what I did.
Yeah, and do you feel that you could have had and should have had the pace to be on that front row then? In qualifying.
I was on the front row, wasn't I? I qualified second, didn't I?
Oh, you did? My apologies. Yeah.
That's GP not paying attention there.
That's just me all over. That's just me all over.
The only mistake I made was when I was doing my intermediate runs, I was putting like 8-10 laps of fuel in. I left all that fuel in when I went out on my super soft run.
Yep. I've just realised.
Mistake I did make.
Yeah, I've just realised that it was Caribbean Crush that wasn't up near the front at the start, and had to come through a little bit. So that was the question I probably should have been asking Caribbean Crush. But yeah, sorry, apologies, got you two mixed up there. That's why. But yes, Dave, have you got any questions for OG Dragon?
Yeah, it's at the start of the race because you've explained qualifying. From you getting second, you dropped back to fourth. Do you feel that was set up? Is there something you could change, or was that sort of just settle in, get your feet under the table, and see what you've got with these guys wheel to wheel, and take your time?
No, because my race engineer told me it was going to be raining for all the race, so I thought, look after these wets, and possibly if it dries up a bit, I can go late on the next stop. So I like changed my bias on my car, so I was using my rear tyres more than the front ones.
So it's more conservative and see how it panned out, and then go from there.
Yeah, but once it started drying up, I switched it all back, and then I just maintained that gap to Caribbean Crush because the other guy crashed out.
Yeah, that was unfortunate. I think GP caught that.
Yeah.
I just kind of like I just went with it.
Yeah. Just on that incident that the other guy crashed out, it was SBL Mali Kekec. I'm pretty sure he'll have posted a comment on YouTube and let us know his thoughts on that. But I just want to ask Caribbean Crush, sorry to go back to the leader at this point, any idea what happened there between the two of you?
Well, on my point of view, I was braking for turn 3. I didn't turn wheel at any point. I left him room, so I don't really know what happened there, whether it was lag or yeah, connection issues.
It just seemed like one of you which obviously Malakek, it just seemed to go 90 degrees off the circuit into the wall. Wasn't sure whether there was a bit of movement from either one of you because it was difficult to see. But yeah, thank you for your comment on that. So back to OG Dragon. We heard what aeros Caribbean Crush was using. Was you on a higher aeros or a lower aero setting to that?
What was Caribbean Crush on?
9.8, I think you said.
I was much lower than that.
Okay.
I was running a 5.4.
Wow. So to be able to drive as well as you did in the wet conditions with those aeros, that's pretty good. That is. That's good going.
I made a few mistakes and Caribbean Crush came past me and I thought, right, settled in. My teammate was behind me. I was pulling from him, but the good guys pulled from me.
Yeah, you did a good job there. You did a good job. So, yep, stay with us. We will come to you with a question of the day in a moment as well. On to our third place driver. Don't know who this guy is. A Razor. Who are you?
I'm the third FRR noob here. I think.
Yeah. So for anyone that doesn't know, a Razor is Tony. He does some of the commentary with us on the World Series races. I've got a question for you, Tony. But
oh yeah, you have.
I've got plenty of questions for you. But before I ask you any questions, Dave's got a question he wants to ask you first.
How are we doing today, Razor? We good, buddy?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got one question for you.
Yeah.
One question
Okay. Yeah.
What colour's your underwear?
Yeah. I know. Yeah. I actually knew that was coming, and yeah, I have a pink ones, so yeah.
He's a real man today. Real man.
Yeah. Got third place.
I wasn't expecting that colour. I don't know. Alright, yeah, so a Razor, great race. We are aware that you did lots of overtaking throughout that race because every time I was trying to keep an eye on something else where Dave kept saying, a Razor is just about to make a Razor just made a note. A Razor is... it was almost as if Dave had a bit of a fan fetish for a Razor. So, was it quite a busy race like that for yourself, or was Dave just happy to see you?
Oh, it's great to have some screen time, but I don't know. It was kind of busy race. The start of the race was pretty bad. I went for the grass and I had no traction, and I think 11 cars passed me or something. I don't know. I was almost dead last there, and then I climbed place after place back up. And then I had a great strategy by my pit wall, thanks to Dom for the great calls, and I had to thank my teammate Kalsa for dropping out of the race so I could get this. Yeah, his internet is not so good, so I had to thank for that as well.
Yeah, and talking about Calzo's internet, his brother didn't go online, did he, and corrupt his race?
I heard he was watching the race live stream, so maybe that was why.
Yeah, it was interesting how, because we did make a bit of a comment about how he was able to race last week in the World Series as a reserve driver, the World Series rookie driver's seat. I'm trying to remember the full name of that, but there we go. Yes, so yeah, a bit of a connection issue there for Calzo today, but rather unfortunate. So I'm going to move on actually to question of the day. So bear with us, Tony. We'll come to you in a moment. We're going to always go to the race winner first. So question of the day: what car shares the Pagani Zonda's temperature controls? Then you don't have a clue. I'll just say a random car then.
Is it Mano?
Is it a what? A Manor?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I'll give everyone a clue. It's not even a Formula 1 car.
That's not a clue.
Okay, well we've had that managed. We're moving on to second place, which was OG Dragon. What do you reckon your thoughts are on that?
I reckon Rover 45.
Okay, I'll note that down. And Tony?
Oh, sorry, what was the question?
What car shares the Pagani Zonda's temperature controls?
Audi.
An Audi.
Yeah.
Well, just gonna see if I can get a nod from my. I'm being handed something here for Aria. Somebody reckons that Eraser's wearing blue pants.
No.
Oh, the other bit.
The other bit at the top.
There's somebody on YouTube that has also said Rover 45, and it is because that is the answer, the Rover 45. So yeah, OG Dragon. Any help there by our friend Google?
Nope.
You actually genuinely you knew that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well played.
I was literally just eating my dinner.
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll give you one extra bonus point for just knowing it randomly. There you go. Something we haven't mentioned actually this week on the commentary, which I'm going to bring in now, is the possibility next round in Britain, I think it is, in 2 weeks' time, because we run fortnightly in the World Series reserves. The possibility of bringing points in for the drivers that finish the race. Interesting concept, interesting thought from going from the next race to the end of the season. So quick question to everybody here. What's your thoughts on that? So Caribbean Crush, points to be scored in these reserve races rather than just getting a podium position. What do you reckon? Caribbean Crush? Yeah, I think he's still eating. Yeah. What do you think to starting to do points for the guys in the reserves?
Yeah, I think that will encourage more people to join and do this league as well.
Okay. OG Dragon, what are your thoughts on it?
I don't really know. It's my first race, you know.
Yeah. Okay. And Tony?
I don't like it. More pressure and yeah, it's fun to race when you know it doesn't count for anything. So more casual driving.
Okay, interesting thought that one. And somebody yesterday said the same as well. So something to bear in mind there for the admins. Okay, so thank you very much for everyone joining us. I'm just going to ask Dave if he's got anything, not this Dave looking at me, the other Dave in the commentary box. Yeah, coming to get you, anything that you'd like to add?
I got a question for a Razor. I hope I pronounce is it Puzo?
Yeah.
The guy you were battling with, a Razor. What was that like? Because you two seem to go toe to toe.
Yeah, that was a nice battle. I don't know what to say about that. It was fair racing, and then one turn I kind of lost it, and he almost ran into me. But I don't know if there was contact. But yeah, it was good racing.
Yeah. Well, congratulations to all three of you. It's good to see some new faces in the WS over at the WC as well. So congratulations, keep it up, and enjoy front row racing.
Thank you very much there, coming to get you. I'm going to start bringing this to a close, but just like to remind everybody that at Front Row Racing we also do run Project Cars, and it's round one this Sunday, 8 PM at the Monza Short Circuit in the DTM Mercedes. The grid has been already selected and formed for that, but if you are wishing to take part in Project Cars, join the community on the PlayStation, and send us a message on Facebook to Front Row Racing and tell us you want to get involved in Project Cars. The more drivers we have involved, the more we can do with Project Cars. So yeah, let us know you want to take part. As for that, yep, thank you very much for everyone that's taken part. Congratulations to the top 3 drivers, and we're going to say goodbye and see you all again very soon. Thank you very much for taking part.